Hey, what's up everyone and welcome to my channel. And if you are not new to this channel, then welcome back. In this video, or actually in the coming few videos, I want to go over how I like to structure my Go APIs, Go applications, and what kind of standard code I use to build my application. So this will not be some boilerplate code because usually my boilerplate code which I use would actually comprise of some sort of authentication, authorization and other stuff. So in this a few videos, I just want to focus more on the structure of the code, which provides you maximum scalability, testability, and a very loosely coupled architecture, which is to say that we will keep database, API, and service layer loosely coupled and define a clear boundary of the flow of data between them. So we'll be splitting this video in a few sub videos. I don't know how much. I guess however much it takes to cover all the basics aspects which I actually want covered. So in this video, we'll be starting with a simple basic HTTP server, and this HTTP server for this we'll be using GorillaMux here. So I've tried, I think, Gin and Echo also, but I sort of like this library. So it doesn't really matter which library you use, the structure, like structure wise, it will remain more or less the same. So we'll go with this library, and maybe later we can make a short videos regarding Echo and Gin also. Okay, let's start by creating a directory. And I'll do Go API and I'll do Go mod init, my username, and Go API, and I'll make a main.go and open my code editor. Okay, let's write up this main.go with our standard code, package main and func main. So before diving into Mux, let's just start to make a simple HTTP server with our standard HTTP library. So HTTP dot, that's how you basically configure, right? If you want to configure it quickly, you do HTTP dot listen and serve, and you mention the address here. I just need to mention the port, and the handler will be nil. I think it will be using HTTP dot default serve mux if you specify nil. Let's configure a route here. So HTTP dot handle func, and we'll use the root, and it will be func response writer, which will be HTTP dot response writer, and request, which will be HTTP pointed to HTTP dot request. Okay, response writer, I'll just write the status code of write header status code of HTTP dot status, okay, which is our 200, and also fmt dot fprintln, and it'll take io dot writer, which in our case is response writer, and I'll pass simple string hello. Okay, so let's just try to run this and see if everything is cool, which I sort of know is, anyways, curl http localhost, what's the port, 9000. Okay, so this normal API works. So if you see here, we have http.listen_serve, which actually takes the address. So this is all the control that you have of your server. I like to have more control over my server, so I would just replace this with another code. So instead of doing http.listen_serve, I do http.server. I'll make the new server. It takes a couple of properties here. Let me show you first. So it takes the address, of course. It takes an handler. So it takes http.default_servmux, as I told you, if it is nil. So it takes TLS config, and if you want to set up TLS, then you can specify the TLS config here. You can set up read timeout, write timeout, or idle timeout. So there are a lot of other properties here, but we'll be using a few properties just to demonstrate. So we'll start with address. I'll do 127.0.0.1, and I'll specify the port. I want to configure the read and write timeout. So read timeout I'll keep 2 seconds, and write timeout I will keep 2 seconds again. I also want to configure idle timeout, and I'll keep 2 seconds. So I like to keep these values pretty simple when I start. So as I move forward and depending on the API that I'm building, the application that I'm building, I try to tune this parameter as it suits me. Okay, so now that we have this HTTP server, I can just do s.listen and serve, and it will actually start the server. So if I curl, I get hello. So our server is working fine. But the next thing that I want to do, which I like to do, is have a graceful shutdown strategy here. So with this, I can just do s.shutdown, and this will enable the graceful shutdown here. So shutdown gracefully shuts down the server without interrupting any active connections. So this shutdown actually takes a parameter which will be, where is it? Context. So it takes context. So what will be this context? So let's just try to make a context here. So we'll have context, and I'm going to make a timeout context, so it will return cancel func. So I'll just do context dot with timeout, and the parent context, sorry, context dot background, and the timeout which I'll keep is 5 seconds. So basically what this context is saying is you wait for any active connections for 5 seconds. If they are not finished, as in if the request is still not given the response back to the client, then end it anyways. Otherwise, basically it's asking you to wait for 5 seconds before you shut down the server, which gives you plenty of time to actually complete your request. So if you have heavy APIs, or if you have very big applications with lots of active connections at a time, then you might want to tweak this according to your use case. Okay, let's just defer this cancel here, and we have shutdown here. Now this shutdown will actually work. For example, I do Control C. So I want to listen to this OS signal interrupt, and then I want to shut down here. So what I would do is I'll make a channel of type os.signal, and it will be size 1. So when I get the signal, so I want to notify this channel for this signal, which will be syscall.sigint, I guess. Okay, yeah. So it will wait for this signal and actually notify this C. So I can just do like this. So this will actually wait for the interrupt, and then it will gracefully shut down the server. But I guess we can do better than this. So we'll do something like this. So we'll do go func. So I'll put this all in a go routine, and instead of this, I'll make an error channel. Which will be channel of type error, and instead of doing this, I'll pass error to it. I'll pass this error to this channel, fmt.errorf, and I'll just do, yeah, okay. So I'm passing error to this channel, and I can just wait for this error here. But instead of doing this, let's just log this here, log.errorf. I can just log dot, yeah, errorf should be fine. So log.errorf terminating API with error, and I'll wait for this error. Okay, I'll do one more thing here. I'll grab this s.listen and serve and actually paste this in another go routine, and this will return some error if there is any, and I'll catch this error again and actually put this error in our channel. So I'll put this error there. Let's just name it errors so that there is no name collision, and I'll make the sizes 2 here because this one and this one, of course. Oh, we'll change it to errors, and here also errors. Okay, let me close this. So this Okay, no, I don't need Prometheus log. Okay, things seem okay now. So it's not happy about errorf. Oh, it's log.errorf. It's okay. I'll just do fmt dot errorf, I guess. Printf. Let's just do printf. Let's not be fancy about it. Okay, so we have a basic HTTP server here now with Graceful Shutdown. So I'll try to run this and it should run as expected because it's more or less the same code that we have written but in a much structured way. So I'll do go run main.go and I'll curl to localhost 9000 and it should return hello. Okay, so now this is completed. Next we need to set up our own router because this router is something that we don't want to use, so we are using mux here. So this is how you set up a new router for mux. So mux.new router. So I'll just remove this code. Okay, I'll remove this for now. Actually, I'll just copy this function here itself. Okay, and remove the rest of the code. So I'll make a new router which will be mux.router. Sorry, mux.new router. And this router dot will have a handle function. Am I right? So this will be handle func and the same path, and I'll copy paste the code that I'll paste the code that we actually copied. So it takes the same actually parameters here, the same function type. So instead of this HTTP default serve mux, we'll be using this now. So we need to specify this to our HTTP server that the handler that we are going to use to handle request will be this one. Okay, it's not happy about this. So, okay. I guess I don't have, I'll just do go get. That should fix the problem. Okay, so now we are using this mux router now. So the reason we are using mux router instead of default HTTP server mux is as good as HTTP query is, there are some things which are really complicated when it comes to the library. So for example, getting the query parameter itself is a task. So mux actually handles this out of the box and it provides a lot of other capabilities. We'll see those capabilities as we move forward. So that's it for this video. So we have set up a basic HTTP server with a single simple route. So in the next video, we'll shift this router code to a new package itself, and then we'll maybe make a few handlers. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.